Grant. I'm the president for 2024, and that is, what do we got? 20 more days? Hello? It's been a lot of fun this year. We had a lot of great teamwork and a great interaction with the administration, and we're going to recap what we've been doing during the year. At this point, I will ask Tony to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand if you're able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to cover three different areas today. We're going to introduce our new residents. We're going to do an overview of the resident council, and we're going to do the committee reports, which really will recap what we've done in the past year. At this point, again, I'll ask Tony to come forward.
Thanks, Tabor. This is the part of the program where we recognize people who've moved in during the previous quarter. One thing I'd like to emphasize to you is that everyone in this room has been where you are now. Confused, a bit lost, and surrounded by moving boxes. Please keep in mind that you are now a part of John Knox Village, and help is available whenever you need it. If you're not sure who to ask for help, start with your village friend. The village friend should be able to answer your questions or point you in the direction of someone who can. That being said, when I call your name, please stand and remain standing until we've recognized everyone. And audience, please hold your applause until then. And we'll start with Edward Foss and Helen Parks. Not here. John and Deanne Moran. Linda Masters. Eleanor Mackey. Barbara Bain. Paul and Barbara Williams. There we go. Hi, Paul. Francis and Dorothy Pratt. Edwin and Linda White. Donald and Nancy Boyd. Gwendolyn Carson. Austin Lilly. Gary and Carmela Cisco. Leo and Betty Hilke. Elka Short. Hans and Krista Schrout. Marilyn Campbell. Carol Andrek. Lois K. Cole. Anita Semler. Paul, welcome to John Knox Village.
It's nice to have such a large group of new residents come join us. I know they're going to enjoy it here. A little bit about the resident council. It was created by a Florida statute, number 651, as the liaison between the residents and the administration of John Knox Village. It is comprised of 11 members. There's 3 people on the executive committee, and the most important person is sitting over here keeping us straight, and that is Barbara Brown, our secretary. And she has had to put up with me all year long and done a wonderful job. I have just not paid any attention to her, and she has just gone with the flow. It worked. It was really great. My vice president is Tony, and I'm going to mess up the name, Artiglieri. Did I put an extra E on it? Okay. Is doing a great job, and look forward to seeing his work next year. We have 8 council members, and each one of them is in charge of a committee. And what we'll do is we'll introduce them and their committee as we go along with the committee reports. The purpose of the council is outlined, and it's number 1, to engage in activities to keeping everybody advised of current events, promote the improvement of conditions for the residents within John Knox, cooperate with the administration of John Knox in making things better, and maintain the activities of the council in an open and fair manner, and finally, a concerted effort to acquire and disseminate all the information that comes from the administration. So that's the job we do during the year. And while there's 11 of us that are on the council, each committee is comprised of anywhere from 6 to 12 people. So you have a large group of volunteers out there working on your behalf to make John Knox Village a much better place. Good gracious. All right, the first committee up will be the Activities Committee, and our chair is Deborah Sheffield.
Happy December. I hope you've all had a wonderful year. I have the privilege to chair the Activities Committee for the last 2 months, and I'd like to thank Sue Pogue for her leadership this year. Our council rep was Rick Larkin, and we were fortunate enough to have the support and input from staff liaison Candace Giovanni, who is the JKV Resident Services Coordinator. 7 members made up the rest of our committee, and they were, I was going to try to do it by memory, Joan, Janet, Bill, Mary Mead, Carol, and Judy. I cheated. I would like to acknowledge Candace and her staff, Brittany, Gail, and Doug, for all they do to coordinate our events. Transportation's in line, rooms are booked, concert tickets and our theater tickets are purchased. Candace told me that from January to November, the total participation of residents was almost 23,000. This year, the JKV residents have been exposed to a lot of extra concerts on campus. We had 72 concerts on campus, 50 of which were free. Please plan to attend these next year, as the entertainers love to play to a full house and we want them to come back. I wanted to thank one more group of people, and those are the volunteers at John Knox who take their time to lead activities with fellow residents. And one more thank you to all of the residents that participate in our activities and make this community so vibrant. I wanted to mention a few things from this past year and let you have a little peek into next year. The studio had their grand opening. Wow. I don't know if you've been up there, but they have a plethora of activities going on. Instructors, presentations, a very exciting fiber arts presentation. Please look to them next year to see what's new and exciting coming up. If you have donations you'd like to donate, please contact Carol Jesse. A bike club was formed. All you need is an idea here and it will blossom. If you'd like more info, please contact Judy Quayle. The resident art exhibits continue. Please plan on showing some of your masterpieces next year in our exhibit. The volunteer fair and volunteer recognition events will continue next year. As I said, we value all of our volunteers here. The Orange City Elementary School food drive was a huge success. This year, the residents signed a business partnership agreement with Volusia County Schools. With this, I'm excited to tell you that the school is now ready to accept mentors, whether you'd like to help in a classroom, read to a child, maybe tutor in math, whatever passion you have that you would like to share. If you'd like more information, please give me a call. And in the fall of '25, we look forward to them opening their brand new school building. Residents are signing holiday cards for Oakview Suites and Majestic Oaks residents. This year, though, we're going to add one more twist to it. We are going to hand deliver a handmade card from the studio to every single resident. That's over 180. And they will be presented to them at one of their holiday activities. Karaoke will continue next year, along with top-tier diners and great discussions. John Knox is working on putting the fitness schedule on the portal. If you have a group that you normally like to do events with, ask Resident Services to help you. On the portal, they will put a pull-down menu with people who normally are in your groups, and it makes it really easy to sign up people all at one time. Please continue to submit activities for new ideas. I wish you all a blessed new year and look forward to working with all of you next year. Now I would like to introduce my friend, Chair of the Communications Department, or Communications Committee, Rick Larkin. Thank you.
Wow, what a year it's been, or two, I guess, since it's my second year. But it was full of activities of the usual kind. We had, run by Bob Dunham, 2 photo contests which were held, and the pictures taken by the finalists were displayed in the center, and winners chosen. And after both contests were completed, a runoff election was held, and residents voted for the overall winner, who happens to be a council member, and Dick Jacquin. Louise Kakames takes care of our Village Life publication, which has published what I consider 4 top quality editions this year. Stay tuned for the latest one. It's coming out shortly. The Village Weeklies, and Mary Beth Harvey does work with them, is published, and it's much read and discussed. And it has news of current and upcoming events, keeping us informed of anniversaries, birthdays, and dining menus. Excuse me, that's John Knox TV, I read the wrong line. Upcoming events to keep us informed. And then Debbie, and I won't try her last name because I know I will say it wrong, but she handles stuff on John Knox TV and keeps us up to date on our birthdays and anniversaries, and with some help, the dining menus. And Susie Rudolph, she works with the Village Friends, and she's a co-leader there, and they met with all of the new residents and then welcomed them to our community and briefed them on the many things a new resident needs to know and where to get the answers if they didn't know. Now, one of my favorite topics is the library. Library volunteers here provided over 2,000 hours of time staffing the library on a volunteer basis. And the John Knox added over 250 new books to our collection, and most of which are in large print. In Cubico, under the Information and Directories category, within the Information Cube, there is a link to new book releases and to the JKV Library website, which you can find fairly easily. Check it out. You may be surprised how current and extensive our book collection is. And finally is the Portal Group, which helped educate us on the major change to our experience here, and that's Cubigo. According to the latest information I have, over 80% of us have signed on to Cubigo, and a great number of us are using it for the many of our routine requests and sign-ups. Kudos go to Shannon and Constance and the resident service staff for the smooth transition from the old portal to Cubigo. Credit must be given to the committee group led by Larry Messagano along with a number of resident volunteers who have helped us make the transition into the new system. They spent many hours working on one-to-one basis with us to orient us to Cubigo. And we're reaching out now to those people who haven't signed on to Cubigo to see if they don't know how to do it and need some help or can't do it for whatever reason. And finally, I want to thank the residents who served on the committee both this year and last year, who made my job very manageable. When you let good, knowledgeable people do what they are capable of doing, good things happen. And I was fortunate to have this experience. I want to thank you all, excuse me, very much. And now I turn the mic over to the one and only Joe Rudolph.
The one and only, excuse me.
I was going to call you by another name, but I decided.
Oh, I wish you would have. In fact, I'm going to bring that up. This is because I am fighting the biggest cold I've ever fought in my life, I think, right now. And it's to protect you. Did I do that like an actor? You, not me. And I am Joe Rudolph, and it's okay with me if you want to call me Alfonso. For those of you that had the good fortune of going to the Madrigal? Yeah, Madrigal play and dinner, an amazing effort that the Hortons put on and all of the singers and everything. It's really amazing. I got thrown in kind of late, and I wasn't too good, but I had a ball. So next year, sign up. It's been my honor to represent the Employee Appreciation Fund Committee for this past year. The hardworking Employee Appreciation Fund committee members are Council Representative Larry George, members Joan Cornett, Susie Rudolph, Mike Marks, Steve Stevenson, Gene Marks, Donna Rieger, and Gilbert Hollyfield. Staff liaisons, which are very important for this committee as well other committees, has been Elvira Wolford, who is head of our HR department, director of HR. And then, of course, Shannon Finley, who's the director of everything. Her real title is Marketing Communication Specialist. And, of course, Candace, Candace DiGiovanni. I really only included her because I love saying her last name. No, but she's been great, and I appreciate all the help we've gotten from all those folks. And special thanks to Gene Marks, Donna Rieger, and Kathy Summers, who has been extremely helpful to the committee. And of course, last but not least, a very special thanks to Mike Marks, who actually has been my mentor this year and the reason that we got through as smoothly as we have. So I'm going to ask you to please help me thank these folks with some applause who work so hard for the benefit of our employees. Please, thank you. But it just wasn't those folks that put in the time. It was also the Resident Furniture Committee, Hobby/Repair Shop, and the Recycle Committee also shared in their money that they accumulated that contributed to Employee Appreciation Fund, and I don't mention them near often enough. Now, to promote and support the fund, we hosted the putting tournament, which was a lot of fun. We even had a married couple that was competing for the final and semi-final spot in the putting, and no one got hurt. It came off very well. The cornhole tournament, which was added to a special exhibition match with administrators Joe Trainer and Mark Otto. Now, that was really fun to watch, and they were awfully good about coming out and putting a team together. They only beat our resident champions by 4 points. That's how close it was. It was very exciting. I'm sure a few people in the audience passed out. But next year, they promised to come back, and we're going to try to bring the bragging rights back to the residents next year. But the grand finale of everything that the Employee Appreciation Fund does is when the residents pass out the checks personally on Employee Appreciation Day. For those of you who have not done it, it's a wonderful thing to do. You will be filled with gratification. And that's what it's all about right there, because on that day, we personally handed out 526 checks out of the total 560. So the high majority of employees came here to pick up their checks personally from the residents. While they were here, they also took a good look of all the thankful cards that were hung up on the walls. They get a big kick out of that. Those thankful cards will end up going into their personnel file and maybe even distributed to the employees themselves, and they're all scanned. That's Kathy Summers helps us with that. But the big thing is the amount. And I understand it may have gotten leaked out. And if it has, it has. But as you know, our goal was $400,000. And we were able to collect, as you can see in back of me, $515,587.49. You should be thanking each and every one of you, because that's what it's all about. So thanks to all for your generosity, your unselfishness, and indulgence. The committee is expecting to do even better next year. Thank you very much for your time. Now I'd like to introduce the Facilities Committee Chair, whoever's taking his place. It looks like it's Taver. And where's Debbie Arteclair? It's pronounced Arteclair, correct? Correct? She's not listening.
Thank you, Joe. Our committee chair couldn't be here. He has the same kind of ailment that Joe has, only probably a little bit worse. The Facilities Committee worked with staff and did a fantastic job this year. They were involved keeping tabs on the roofing project, and if you don't know, every roof in John Knox Village was replaced. They were also involved in the new sidewalks on Trafford Avenue, in the design and execution of that project. They were involved in what we really appreciate, finally, at long last, are 2 new pumps to help lower the lakes around here and start to get a little bit of a handle on our water problem. They reviewed a pest control program and implemented that with staff. They went and worked with residents to create a pollinator program. Pollinators are for butterflies. So this has been submitted to administration for their consideration. In addition, they've been working with a parking project. New residents, new cars, more space needed, please. We've been able to create almost 24 new spaces, and they're still working on it to enlarge the golf cart spots to accommodate the new style of carts, and they're working on another parking lot, and that should bring us another 24 spaces that can be used for employees so that the residents can take the spots that they vacate. And finally, they've been keeping tabs on the Majestic Oaks renovation project. This has been a long time coming. They've finished one wing and are working on another. And so they've been involved with staff, making suggestions and changes and corrections to those programs as they go along. And there are many other projects that are underway that I'm sure that the administration will discuss when they come up here in a little bit. So at this point, I'm going to stop talking and turn it back over to Tony so that he can handle the Finance Committee.
I'm sitting in today for Dick Jacquin, Chair of the Finance Committee. His report is as follows. The committee's mission is to review and analyze the financial data provided by JKV Management and monitor the financial health of John Knox Village for the resident stakeholders. We do this by reviewing the quarterly reports required by Florida's Office of Insurance Regulation, the IRS 990 tax filing, the annual audited financial statements, and the village's census reports. The committee met throughout 2024 to accomplish these goals. The state of Florida uses 3 measuring standards to help determine whether a CCRC is financially stable: occupancy, cash on hand, and debt. As of the last quarterly report, our occupancy was 80.9%. This figure looks at the previous 12 months in a rolling average. As you know, we've had a major influx of residents this year, and we expect the next report to show that we are well over 80%, which is the statutory requirement. So we're meeting the target, but we're confident this number will continue to rise in 2025. The second measure is cash on hand. We have enough cash on hand to allow us to continue operations for 825 days, and the requirement is 100 days. So we're easily surpassing that requirement. The final measure is debt, and since John Knox Village has no debt, we also surpass that standard. That said, we are in excellent financial health with solid reserves and a healthy operating margin. The reports monitored by the Finance Committee can be found in the library here in the Barker Center. Karen Lane will be the 2025 designated resident representative to JKV's Board of Directors. Karen was approved for this position both by the Finance Committee and the Residents Council. She will be replacing Taver Cornett, who has filled this role for the past 2 years. Dick and I would like to publicly thank the committee members: Clyde Stickney, Karen Lane, Doris Taylor, Linda Christofic, Bill Mahar, Marcia Berg, and Linda Somm, as well as our council representative, Jerry Yaris, and staff liaison, Cynthia Pohl and Nicole Schmeider. I should mention that Marcia will be leaving the committee at the end of the year, and Joel Gallagher will be filling Marcia's position for 2025. Thank you for your attention. Next up is Bill Sharp to talk about food.
Good afternoon. Before I give my report, I would like to take a couple seconds to tell you what a pleasure it's been working alongside the JKV administration. Dem, Raven, and Stan are the best. And our food committee was second to none. Bonnie, Bob, Molly, Mary Lee, Susie, and Gary. Without these people, we worked as a team with these people. In 2024, as the team has accomplished many changes, the renovation of the grill with new tables, chairs, fresh coat of paint, and new pictures are on their way. S.H. Crane is getting a new facelift next with new carpeting, chairs, and a few other secrets, surprises. A new bay menu was developed and what we call comfort food. And the S.H. Crane menu was also changed. The wait staff has a new training manual that we believe has increased their ability to do their job better. The new JJ Brunch menu offers a variety of foods geared toward breakfast and lunch. The salad bars have changed, adding new items like cherry tomato, grape tomato. So there are some new items there. We have added a corn dog, salads, and other daily specials, and increased the seating capacity in the bistro. A lot of the changes that happened this year came about because of comment cards submitted by residents of John Knox Village, as well as members of the food committee and the course management team. The main reason for those changes was the positive relationship between the food committee and management. It was indeed a team effort which accomplished the improvements for the residents' dining experience. With the holidays coming up, the food department will be preparing many different and delicious meals and our daily menu. Our committee leaves with a great support of the next year's committee, which is headed by Bob Mayberry. Thanks again to Dem, Raven, Stan, for listening and acting on the comment cards, and thank you, the residents, for submitting the comment cards. We wish everyone a happy holiday and bon appetit. Here's Gary.
Thank you, Bill. Before I begin my formal remarks, I just want to thank my committee. I have a wonderful, wonderful committee, and I'm very blessed because most of them are going to stay on for next year. So that will make my life a lot easier, and hopefully we'll be able to do even more next year than we did this year. But I want to just begin with a few formal remarks. In January 2024, Grant Hammond presented his goals for the year. He stressed that rather than just reporting numbers and statistics, he wanted us to take this information and use it to help improve the physical and mental health of all our residents. Part of that mission, he wanted to create a healthcare handbook. And thanks to his hard work and that of the committee, we have accomplished this goal. This healthcare handbook will be published this week on Cubigo. In addition to that, it will include a section on estate planning, and it is quite extensive and it is quite good, and I urge everybody, if you have a chance in the next week or two, please go look at these two new additions to Cubigo. You might find some very helpful information in there. Now, an example of using this evidence-based information that we hope to present more in the future, Nicole Vega documented the number of witnessed and unwitnessed falls in our village. And in 2023, we had 269 people fall in this village. Now, I think that's a large number. However, we don't have 2024 yet, so I don't know if it's going to be up or down. Now, if you look at it from a purely statistical point of view, and remember what I'm going to say, 21% of people who fall and break a hip will die within a year. That's very sobering. So in real life terms, that means in broad numbers, 54 people will die. So we don't want anybody falling in our village. So what can we do to prevent it? Well, what we did was we analyzed further what were the causes. The causes were broken down into four main broad categories. One was cardiac issues, one was visual issues, one was failure to thrive issues, and the other was alcohol. So, the Healthcare Committee would like to make the following suggestions. One, check with your healthcare provider to make sure your heart medications are compatible with all the other medications that you're taking. We all know medications interact with one another, but if you have Dr. A giving you X number of drugs and Dr. B giving you X number of drugs. They don't always mesh with one another. So please check so interactions aren't the cause of anybody falling down. Stay well hydrated. Orthostatic hypotension occurs when we change our positions rapidly. We don't want anybody falling. You get up in the morning, you get out of bed and you stand up too quickly, bingo, you're going to end up on the floor. Do it slowly. Make sure you're well hydrated. We all know that as we get older, we have vision problems. So get annual vision changes. We all are subject to macular degeneration and cataracts as we get older. So please see your ophthalmologist. Failure to thrive issues. Make sure you eat properly. If we don't eat properly, we lose muscle mass. And as we all know from my previous discussion, when we turn 40, we lose 4 to 6% of our muscle mass each decade. So how can you prevent that? Well, one way to do it is to exercise. Do a little bit of exercise each day, as long as your healthcare provider says it's okay, and this will hopefully decrease and retard the loss of muscle mass. Alcohol. When we were all younger, we could all belt down a few drinks and wasn't a big deal. I like happy hour as much as anybody else. However, as we age, we do not metabolize alcohol as readily as when we were younger. So please keep that in mind. And finally, before you think I'm crazy, I want to say a word about Tai Chi. We are very lucky here that we have Sally Hardy, who teaches a form of Tai Chi that is designed to improve our balance and prevent falls. She uses 8 simple forms that have been designed by the NIH for seniors to help us keep our balance and prevent falls. She teaches 2 days a week at the Valencia Yoga Studio. It's only a half an hour, and it's worth trying so you don't fall. I know it's improved my balance. I've been taking it for a couple of years since I've been here. Now, a quick overview of some of the other accomplishments that we've done. We have the Late in Life programs that are under the auspices of Mary Ellen Humphreys. She had several seminars last year, and she has more planned for this year. We have a committee member who works with Oakview Suites to handle any problems that the administrator brings to our attention. We have Amanda Logan, who runs many support groups that are published in our weekly. We have Nicole Vega, who informs us of any issues and problems at Majestic Oaks and home health care. She also informs us about statistics at Martha Cullen's Clinic. So if there are any medical trends that we know about, we can be involved with them and get hopefully a handle on them very quickly. We have Mickey Analek, who works with our fitness coordinator to help us understand what's going on in our fitness centers. And we also had a member of the healthcare committee who worked with 2 of our residents to obtain a new piece of equipment for our gym, which has turned out to be very popular. We have Mary Brown, who's very instrumental in providing our helpful hints, which we get in the Village Weekly. We have Rita Lucy, who facilitates discussions on hospice and palliative care. We have Donna Regenstrive, who is concerned with the amount of salt in our food, and as we all know, and as we age and blood pressure and cardiac issues become more of a problem, we should all be on a low salt or no salt diet. Obviously, this will be worked through with the food committee. Now, as I said, I'm very lucky that most of our current members are staying on, but we are going to expand next year because we hope to have a very ambitious agenda. And we're going to add new members, Dr. Ned Crockett, Laurie Seth, Pam Brandt, Margaret Goldschneider, and Susie Rudolph. Susie is going to handle a new subcommittee that we're going to try for next year. And what we would like you to do is email Susie. Her email address will be on the portal with any problems you have regarding physical and mental issues that you think we, the healthcare committee, should be involved with. We're trying to do this so that we can act in a quicker manner, in a more proactive manner. We ask that you sign your name, so only because we need to know who we can go to follow up, your name will be kept confidential, but then this way we know what's going on in the committee and how can we help. Finally, I would like to ask everyone to join me in thanking all of you, both past and current, who have served on the Residence Council as president and vice president. What the president and vice president do on the Resident Council is truly remarkable. The amount of hours that they put in, both publicly and behind the scenes, is truly remarkable. So please join me in giving them a hand. And now I'd like to introduce Larry George from the Nomination Committee.
It's interesting, but as the chairman for the nominating committee, I always get to go last. And you've all sat there very patiently, waiting for us to finish up our work. And I thought, I think it's time to tell a joke. And so let me begin by saying thank you to the nominations committee. The task of the nominations committee is to basically fill the openings that will occur at the Residence Council. We will have 6 openings this year, and so we'll have an extensive search going on to find people who are qualified, interested, and experienced to handle the kinds of things that come before the Residence Council. I hope you will think about what that means and whether you have some of the things that would be helpful for our community. And you can approach any of the people on the Residence Council to find out more information about that. And we will be contacting people to see if we can put together a group of people to be on the Residence Council for next year. Now, let me tell you that this story takes place in a lounge. And there are 2 main characters in the story. The first character in the story is a man up in his years, but very dapper and very with it. He's got the nicest suit, and he has the nicest hairdo, and he is just fit for all of the kinds of things that he's involved in. And he goes down to the lounge, and he's looking around the lounge, and he sees a very, very attractive lady sitting in the lounge. And so he goes up to that lady and says, after she's seen the quality of the clothes he has on and his positive way of approaching her, and he says to her, "Do I come here often?" Now, if you don't get that, you got to think about that for a minute. But thank you very much for considering the place that you might play here at John Knox, and consider, if you are approached, whether you might decide to be a member of the Residence Council. Thank you.
Thank you. As you can see, we have a very busy resident council, and we've accomplished a lot, and I want to thank every one of the folks on the council who supported our team this year. And with that, we are adjourned.